Donald Trump is in the middle of feuding with the director of the CDC, Dr. Robert Redfield, who made the mistake of giving people accurate information about the efficacy of wearing a mask. So what were Dr. Redfield's statements? What made Donald Trump so upset? Well, let's take a quick look.
Dr. Cadillac said, I think there will be vaccine that initially be available sometime between November and December, but very limited supply and will have to be prioritized. If you're asking me when is it going to be generally available to the American public so we can begin to take advantage of vaccine to get back to our regular life, I think we're probably looking at late second quarter, third quarter, 2021.
Something that is demonstrably true based on scientific evidence. A mask will keep you safe during this pandemic, of course, depending on what kind of mask you're using. And we shouldn't wait on a vaccine, especially when it comes to widespread distribution of a vaccine. Now, Donald Trump knows that he's really relying on the release of a vaccine, or at least the promise of a vaccine to get reelected. And so Dr. Redfield's statements did not sit well with him.
Are you comfortable with that timeline?
No, I think he made a mistake when he said that. It's just incorrect information. And I called him, and he didn't tell me that. And I think he got the message, maybe confused, maybe it was stated incorrectly. No, we're ready to go immediately.
The core of Vice President Biden's argument is that you don't trust the scientists, you don't listen to them. And here up on the podium today, you're twice contradicting the director of your own CDC on the science who testified before Congress today.
No, he's contradicting himself. I think he misunderstood the questions.
Well, he was testifying on.
You know what I think? I think he misunderstood. I told you, I don't have to go through this. I think he misunderstood the questions, but I'm telling you, here's the bottom line. Distribution is going to be very rapid. He may not know that. Maybe he's not aware of that. And maybe he's not dealing with the military, et cetera, like I do.
I don't really understand why he brought the military into this and at the very end of that answer. But I will mention that Donald Trump seems to be very confident that there will be a vaccine ready for the vulnerable population in the United States by late October. Just think about that timing. So one of two things are possible here. Possibility number one is that Donald Trump does not actually think that there will be a vaccine ready for the elderly, for instance, by late October. And he's still just saying it because he lies all the time. That's certainly a possibility. Possibility number two is there's some sort of vaccine in their back pocket and they're waiting to release it on a strategic date that's closer to the general election. I don't know if I buy that. I think it's possibly or most likely the possibility of him just flat out lying about it. But nonetheless, Cenk, Redfield he didn't backpedal, but he did clarify his statement on Twitter, basically saying that a vaccine would be effective. He does believe in the importance of a vaccine. I 100% believe in the importance of vaccines and the importance in particular of a COVID-19 vaccine. A COVID-19 vaccine is the thing that will get Americans back to normal everyday life. Cenk.
Okay, so two separate issues here, obviously. One is the issue of the timing. No, they don't have a vaccine in their back pockets. That's not how it works. The private companies are working on the vaccine. Two of them look like they were making good progress, but are now struggling. A third one is doing really well. And so that one could come, according to the scientists and according to Redfield, as early as between November and December. But that would just mean, hey, ta-da, we have a vaccine. We then have to produce and distribute it. That's why when Redfield says, yes, but you won't be able to take it until basically late Q2, meaning around June or early Q3 in the summer of 2021. So that's nearly indisputable. Now, why is Trump saying that it's gonna come at the very end of October, beginning of November? Well, the election is November 3rd. That doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out. It doesn't take the head of the CDC to figure out why Trump is saying that. Now, of course, one thing about Trump is that he hasn't really thought this through. Plus, he's got a plan to try to lie his way through it. So what happens if none of the three private companies have the vaccine ready by November 3rd? So then he promised everybody, oh, it's gonna be ready, it's gonna be ready, it's gonna be ready. Oh, it's not ready. Well, you just actually did even more harm to your own campaign by overpromising something you had no control over. Now, at that point, they're gonna say it's not ready, likely, and maybe they'll rush in order to get political favors, and by the way, a ton of funding from the United States government. Maybe they'll help Trump with his propaganda and say it's ready when it's not quite ready. Because remember, even if it's ready in whether it's November 2nd or November 22nd, they're not gonna get it to the public for many months after that. So those private companies are gonna get to decide when they call it ready. And so there's some gray zone there. But whether they say it's ready or not, Trump will jump out and go, that's it, it's ready, I don't care what they say. No, it's ready, we win, right? And the question is, will the media do a good enough job of saying that is or is not true? And now, so that's the timing, and that's definitive. I'll get to the mask versus vaccine in a second. Did you want to say something, Anna?
Yeah, I just wanted to respond to how it's really up to the corporations, the pharmaceutical companies that are so trustworthy. Look, one of the things the pharmaceutical companies want more than anything is deregulation. And if the Trump administration is rushing a vaccine, wouldn't we be a little worried about what the pharmaceutical industry puts out there as an effective vaccine? I mean, I have a lot of concerns about how everything is being played right now, both by the Trump administration and by pharmaceutical companies historically when it comes to their profit motive and what they want to do to serve their financial interests. So
yeah, no,
look, I'm not saying this to.
Okay. No. Let me be clear. Look, there's one thing that's possible and one thing that is not possible. So what is possible is that one of those private drug companies says that the vaccine is ready, when in reality it'll be ready in another couple of weeks. So, and they do that in exchange for example, not lowering prescription drug prices, getting, et cetera. There's 1,000 things they want from the United States government and 1,000 reasons why they'd want to play ball. So if there's gonna be corruption, it'll be there. Okay, in terms of the announcement of the vaccine timing, okay? But they will not lie about a vaccine being effective and then putting it out to market. The reason why I say that is it's not because I'm naive or I think that private companies are angels. No, it's because if you put out a vaccine that isn't safe and you didn't follow scientific protocol, everybody's watching, everybody in the world is watching, and all the investors are watching. And there's a good chance you will totally destroy your company if you rush out a vaccine that doesn't work. So it's too big a risk financially to do that. And they wouldn't do that for Trump or Democrats or anyone else. Because again, the bottom line is the only thing they care about. So I'm just keeping it real on what is possible and not possible. Now, turning to the mask, Redfield is largely right. You can't tell for sure until the vaccine arrives how effective it is. But a normal vaccine has some degree of effectiveness. So when you take the flu shot, for example, as I did this year, I got the flu anyway because it only protects a certain percentage of people. It does a really good job, but it's not 100% sure. What Redfield's saying is if you wear the mask right, well, it has almost no chance of transmitting from you to someone else, right?
And if you wear the right kind of mask, that's also incredibly important.
That's right. So if you wear the mask right in both those ways, is it more likely to be more effective than a vaccine? Yes, so he is correct. So Trump is wrong on both counts, as usual, by quite a bit. Now, at the same time, it doesn't mean that you're not looking forward to a vaccine because we don't want to wear these masks for the rest of our lives. Otherwise, we could never go inside a restaurant and eat. That's the whole point. We want to get rid of the masks. That's why you want the vaccine. But it is true that the masks are more effective or likely to be more effective. And as of course scientists are pointing out today, in the meanwhile, let's do both, right? And then once the vaccine's here, hopefully if it works sufficiently enough, we'll be able to take the masks off.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.